Good now. Welcome. Thank you. Cool. We're in.
Cool. No,
Everything's sorted. We made it happen.
No, thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Just bring that a little bit closer. Pull it along. It's got a little arm there.
Oh, yeah, sick. Is that all right?
Tilt it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. So, first of all, I've got a question about, have you seen Yellowstone?
I have, yes, many times.
Do you know that was my number one show for like looking at all like Ringers Western and all the other brands that are around? Like, I was like, oh, how cool is that stuff? Those dudes riding horses. So much so that I almost bought a horse.
I mean, 100%. Like,
and I've never even ridden a horse. Well, I probably have when I was a kid, but
what that show's done for, just the country lifestyle, I guess, within Australia, it's because the way they dress, the way they run, like the whole theme, disregarding the kind of plot to it, it's a good lifestyle. Like the way that it works with it, and we've reached out to them a bit too, so you can see that throughout the series there's been different sponsors that have had a lot of branding on the show itself.
Cool.
And just the way that's been able to push, particularly in the city. Like the country people already watch that stuff, but it's everybody in the city that just absolutely froth over it now as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like a friend of mine, actually, Shawnee, who was in here, he plays rugby over in the States and in the States and Japan. Yeah. And we were messaging back and forth. He was looking at ranches in Montana. Yeah. He's like, I legit was pricing them up. He's like, I wanted to buy one. Yeah,
I'm actually setting up a warehouse in Austin. Yeah. We were going to do it last year, but just obviously due to everything that happened in the world there, it was a bit transitional. We're about to launch our US website in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, nice. So we've got a lot of sponsored athletes and musicians that are over in the States that will all be pushing forward for the launch when that does happen in the next hopefully in the next month. But yeah, obviously everything got thrown up into the air because we can't travel over there, and
that stuffed everything, hasn't it, with business when it comes to
it did, but it kind of, I mean, we didn't stop in COVID. Like, so when it happened there, I mean, we just bought more and went harder. Yeah. So we're either
doubled down.
Yeah, that was it. And it worked. Like online sales just went through the roof. Yeah. And obviously we sponsor numerous sports teams too. So like the Broncos, and then we look after a lot of other players around, from the Titans, Panthers, the Storm particularly as well. Yeah. So it's been able to really get the brand out through different aspects. Yeah, nice from there. So that's been good.
So that's I've sort of noticed your brand is more of has a far more larger social media presence and like a like partnership presence, if that makes sense. Like it looks like you're actually like actively in the community or actively in industries. Like trying to think, be present in that industry rather than rely on people just assuming that that's what people wear.
No, exactly right. So, I mean, when we started the business, we're on the ground, like literally just like you were on the tools. Yeah. As a ringer in Western Australia, I was in the army for about 15 years before that. Yep. And then I came back up to the station after I did selection down in Perth, and then I had a ripped shirt on, and we're all sitting down having some beers by the fire, and was like, I wonder how hard it would be to actually make our own clothes that are going to fall apart as opposed to somebody else's.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So basically, did that. Got on the road. My mum was packing orders on the Gold Coast, so I set up a little warehouse there at her house, and then got on a 4-wheel drive, started driving around, and just going to stalls and setting up from there. And then as the brand's grown over time, to today where we have about 80 staff.
Wow, yeah.
250 wholesalers. We have massive corporate accounts and different other things. Yep. We've been able to meet, a lot of people all over the country. And then that's where I kind of got into just, looking at athletes particularly. So in terms of working with them to kind of get the brand out. And the athletes are all from the country, or the city. They're all and those that are inclined towards the brand, I guess we work with. So we've got Cameron Munster is one of our ambassadors. Yep. But not the thing that we've done differently, I guess, to others is that like Cameron has, like, I've helped him set up his own business now. Yeah. So Mad Dog.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he owns that. That's his completely, right? Yep. So, but the thing with it, so it's not just he's working for us as an ambassador. It's that we're able to help set up something else for him too, to run his own thing. And Addo Carr's in the same thing. He's about to launch his as well.
Yeah, cool.
You know, and he's such a character.
Yeah,
you know, you can just imagine how
it's an infectious sort of a fella. You would think that guy. Yeah,
100%. So really excited to see those launch. And you know, Cameron's has been live now for about 6 weeks, and it's doing really well. I mean, because he's not just he has a good time, but he's actually just a genuine person. You know, you're walking down the street and he'll there sign everyone's autographs and look after everyone, and he's a great representation for the brand, but just as a person as well. So we try and do different things like that. We just ran a cause for this company called Swiss Aid. It's a mental health charity for the military, which is something that I'm obviously very it's close to my heart. And also, you know, it's just a way to give back. So we did an Anzac Day t-shirt, and I think we're about to donate about $15,000 from the proceeds to these guys that are doing really good things with particularly young veterans that are, you know, just have lost a bit of their identity since they've got out, or, you know, they've seen trauma overseas or whatever. So we've done that. And then our next one is we'll do one with Ronald Macdonald House. So that's obviously helping families that need accommodation, and with children that are sick, particularly from the country as well. So that'll be a big campaign that we do. And Ronald Macdonald is heavily involved with the NRL as well too. So that's something that ties back into the people that we do look after.
With that return services and guys that have seen action, things like that overseas, particularly young guys. It seems like I've never been in the army or any services or anything like that. From the outside looking in, it seems like they get put in such an intense environment straight out of school, essentially. And then, you know, they go through the military, they train for it, and they say they train for it, and I believe it. But that's all well and good saying you train for it. It's like training for a race, and then you show up on the race day, and it's not quite what you expect.
100% right. No, I was talking to a really good mate of mine who actually runs a charity there, and he said that there's no difference between a sports star who's been, you know, who's just absolutely killing it on the field, right? He's made to feel like a god. Okay. However, he comes down harder than probably what the guys from the army do. You know, you see the drop from it, and that just is an emotional thing. Like we're, particularly Australians, we're so good at putting people up on pedestals, and then chopping
real fast,
chopping them down. So you can imagine what that does to your own, you know, just mental state.
You see it a lot with like fighters. So a fighter will have a fight, they'll be the king of the world, and then they retire, and then nobody really gives a shit what they're doing anymore, and so they take another fight because I think they're chasing that through. Exactly
right. And so that leading into is part of why, like say with Cameron's business as well, helping him set that up so that he can almost transition straight through to something that he's passionate about. And maintain that thing, and also have a good understanding of business, because once you're, you know, like running your own business, when you're up and you're always doing stuff, I mean, you don't have a lot of time to let the stuff come into your head. So you're able to work on yourself to get those things through. And we found that, you know, particularly when I was deployed in the army as well, that the when we're always moving and active, mate, we're on. And when we come back home from being overseas and there's no one around, that's when, you know, your thoughts can attack you, I guess. So
I heard I heard another fact. A lot of hearsay. I got a lot of hearsay. I hear things, but I'm not very good at sourcing it, like telling you where I heard it, but I did hear it. And that was that it was that lots of the guys like that are actively, like for example the special forces, like the guys that are actively, like they go on missions effectively. You know, forgive me for the wrong terms, but I'm trying my best there. But you know, they go on their missions, so they actively seeking targets. So they're being deployed, and they debrief whatever in the morning, and they during the night, whatever, and they're actively seeking targets. They're the hunters. Whereas guys like that are like infantrymen or the guys that are sort of in the base and doing all like the other stuff, basically, whatever, you know, other stuff actually, like in the communities and things like that, all that other important stuff, they sometimes can feel like sitting ducks for being attacked. And so therefore the PTSD is more rampant in them because they're always sort of walking around nervous.
I don't necessarily know about that per se. Like I've done kind of I've seen both situations there with it, and I think that I mean, it can really happen to anyone. Like I've seen absolute, you know, superstars in special forces who come back and they're just not right, and then, you know, guys who were just supporting people as well. You know, that again, everybody has the most amazing cause because we're out there to achieve the same thing. I can't do that without my bullets and my beans, etc. from there. So everybody is part of a team. So, I mean, for me, I didn't really see that a lot. But at the end of the day, like, I think, you know, you have people that are more succumb to it and others who have different lessons in life, I guess. Yeah. So I think it's... I
guess it depends on the person, doesn't it? If you're susceptible to it, you'll get it.
That's right. Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And, you know, I've really been quite interested in understanding a lot about that better as well, because like anyone, we all have, you know, things that hit us and make us down all the time. So, you know, I had quite a while ago, you know, I was going through a bit of rough patch with the separation, but, you know, I've got the more accountable I am to getting up, making my bed and focusing on the day and moving through, the less I can kind of get trapped and unmotivated to achieve something from there. So...
momentum's a big thing, isn't it?
I agree.
With stuff like that.
I think it is.
And it can go both ways. Yeah. You can get momentum going down. I noticed that, like, if I get in a rut...
Yeah, it's a lot faster too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I just start doing things that...
Yeah.
Actually make it worse.
Yeah.
And you're not sort of intentionally doing it, and you even know that that's making it worse.
Yeah.
But you still continue to do them.
Yeah.
And it can work the other way, can't it? So you've got to...
No, exactly right.
Yeah. That's scary when you have the other one.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I've seen it. It is indeed.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of the things. That's why, you know, just always looking, even with our company, how we can assist in certain areas to do, you know, a greater effect.
Yeah.
Like, I try and avoid, you know, doing a Band-Aid effect. Like, I want to actually do things. So say... like the Ronald McDonald House is an example. Like, it's a fundamental thing that families need to be looked after when their children are sick.
Yep.
So that's a great cause to support direct people, particularly people in the country who have supported us from day one. Same thing for the military, again, just because it's something that I've always, you know, been in and want to make sure we look after for what they've done for me. From there, and then Drought Angels is another one that we always go through as well. So I think we raised over $50,000 for them last year, which was a big effect. But we're always open to just, you know, supporting charities and supporting people with sponsorship, or, you know, people's houses got burnt down, so we sent boxes of clothes to families who lost their houses in the fires and the floods. So the good thing about having a business which has grown, fortunately, really well, is we also have the ability to have an effect too. Yeah. So, which is something that's
probably more fulfilling than even...
Yeah, 100%.
Well, not necessarily more, like, because you obviously get pride out of your business growing, but to be able to affect it like that without it hindering your business, with your business still moving forward, that's a great feeling.
It is. That's exactly right. And
probably motivating too, I would assume.
Yeah, it is. That's right. So we've got... we've managed to get quite a few large corporate accounts. So looking after a company called Nutrient Ag Solutions, which is, I think they have around 7,000 staff. That's like the elders of the landmarks that you would have seen back in the day.
Yeah.
And doing all these uniforms and being able to get the brand out through there has been a really good thing for us. But they'll always come back and let us know, you know, of, you know, things that we might be able to help with in the communities and towns around rugby teams, and because people know that we have affiliates that are with us, so that we can, you know, help them to go down there and do something that's causable to help the town. So you're essentially a uniform supplier for them.
Correct. Yeah. Those bigger places.
We are. Yeah. So that's something you have to tender for and get.
Yeah.
You know, we got the contract with Nutrient specifically about 3 years ago, and that recently got signed for another 5 years, and that's a really big contract, particularly in our field.
Yeah.
And then we have other government contracts which are even bigger than that, and that is, so, you know, we have the brand that we sell on e-com every day, but further to that, we can start doing school uniforms or start doing rugby teams and everything else. So it's not like in my head, and with our team, we're always thinking, you know, we can go as broad as possible. So it's to cater for everything that you need.
So going back to like how it all started, essentially you were like working, and everything was breaking down, and you thought...
Oh, it wasn't really breaking down. I use that word loosely. I mean, I think I just ripped it on some...
Just given a hiding.
Barbed wire or whatever from there. And then, my ex-wife, who we still work with every day too now.
Yeah.
So, we're just sitting around, and a few other family members were there, and we had the idea. So we were able to really pull in the support to kind of just start off and manage, you know, our costs and overhead really well at the start.
Yep.
So we've always managed to not be in debt as a company.
Yeah.
Which is it's been bloody amazing, really, to do that. But it's not an easy road. But I think the foundation for doing it well, like anything, I mean, you've got a plumbing business, right? Yeah. So if you go and buy all the new flash tools, the brand new car, and all those things, you're going to be in debt.
Yeah.
Is it something you need? Probably not. Where you get a car that's going to get you through for where your company is at the time and the tools that you needed at the time, and then managing the people at the back end to look after all your shit.
Yeah.
Because if they do that, then they're going to keep your tools for longer and all the fundamental things. So same thing for us, whenever we go to a hotel, everyone's got to collect the pens. So if we save $1 there, that dollar will add up to, hundreds of thousands of dollars when we look at everything that person saved. The air conditioner, the lights.
That's a real trap, isn't it? Like you can, especially when you're seeing a lot of money coming in, you can assume that you can be frivolous with the money going out.
No, it's a big
It's
thing.
a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no one can just go and buy anything in the company.
Yeah.
Like it's got to go and get checked off with the CEO. So it sets a good principle for it. But I mean, out of 75 staff, I think you'd find that we have one of the lowest attrition rates of staff, you ever see. We've only had 2 people leave in the last, 4 years.
Yeah.
It's just you walk into the building and everyone's hello and everyone's really part of the team. Yeah. We make them, we as a team make everybody accountable to basically making decisions.
Yep.
So, we have things that we have toolbox every day where everyone will get together and they can raise any issues, and little things that come up is leaving the kitchen messy, as an example.
Yeah.
So you can't, doesn't matter if you're the boss or if you're the pick and packer, there's the rule that you wash your plates and you put them away, just like you're at home.
Yeah.
And if you don't maintain those things, then it just blows out, and then staff start getting agitated with other staff, and as you know, it's a downhill spiral. So try and make it so that everyone is managed as a team, and everyone can feel as though they can keep the whole team accountable.
Yeah. So when you started, obviously you got a premises now, because I know you're not actually in retail. You're in retail stores, aren't you, around Australia?
Yep. And then we have 4 trucks that also drive around Australia too. They're actually owned by wholesalers, but they're branded fully as ours.
Yeah.
So these guys just go to country towns or any towns really, and events, and set up, and you walk in like those old school libraries that used to be mobile. Yeah. Just like that. Beautiful little shop, rolls through and crack on.
That's almost the only way some people get to buy their stuff, isn't it?
Exactly right.
Because for some of those places, see, I grew up in New Zealand.
Yep.
And that's not a huge place, as you probably know. There's still some pretty big stations out there and farms, but it's not a big place.
No.
With respect to Australia,
and
I didn't even realise when I first sort of came here, started coming here, I didn't realise how big this place actually was. Yeah. And you don't realise that till you start travelling inland and drive for hours and hours and hours and still not even getting near halfway through. I think in New Zealand you can never be more than 140 kilometres from the coast.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
fact check. Someone fact check that. I got that's what I heard, but I should know that. But effectively, because it's so long and skinny. But out here, it's just the vastness of it. Yeah. And it's just it's pretty incredible to think. Some people, they have farms where you drive a day.
Well, that's our cattle station that we had. It takes you a day to drive all the way around.
Really?
Yeah, it's mental. And it's the most beautiful place you ever see too.
Yep.
But New Zealand's a massive market for us as well.
It's farmers. A lot of farmers.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And so it's our second biggest market.
Yep.
And the other thing too, so when I deployed overseas, I actually had 2 sections from the Kiwi Army with me as well. So I was able to form a really good relationship with them, and several of the guys are actually work on their farms after they've got out. So we've really been able to get product tested over there from the lads that I was over with too.
Yeah. Because it's a bit different climate.
Yeah, it's
so you got to try and
it's freezing all year round, obviously.
Yeah. Hence why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mental. Yeah. So, and they just love it too, and they love looking after, because we all we went through shit together, and then now we're able to go and do some pretty cool stuff.
That'd be pretty rewarding for them too, to be able to be like,
they love it.
I'm seeing the clothes, I'm product testing, like that. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. And they're big Maori boys too. Yeah. So and when we were deployed over there, because we were on a particular job where basically it was quick response. So you're in a little area. It's probably the size of this whole building thing, and then you wake up and go to the gym, brekkie, have a rest, and go to the gym again. So but all the Aussies we were just doing our stuff. The Kiwi boys just came back out like dinosaurs. Yeah, it was mental.
Yeah, you can get some big boys.
And then they do their haka and their handover with their counterparts when they come over, and it was so privileged to kind of see the way that their traditions work, a bit different to Australians.
It's a very cool culture.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's why that's one thing I noticed about, especially New Zealand and here, is the indigenous culture isn't as I mean, it's getting more and more prevalent here,
Yeah.
like more and more embraced,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Because over there, it's so huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
Like any school you go to, they have a, well, in my school particularly, like they had a school haka.
Yeah.
They even had how you get in these high schools, sometimes you have your own house, like categories.
Yeah.
They had their own one as well.
Yeah.
And everybody embraced it, and they had competitions and everything. And it was, and looking back on it, it's very, very cool to think about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody knew it, and that was the culture, and everybody sort of, it was so ingrained.
Yeah.
And even now you look at it, and they're even trying to bring it more back. Like a lot of the rugby players are actually speaking in their interviews in Maori.
Yeah.
And over here, there's so many indigenous cultures and obviously different language and things, but it just seems like it's not so much. It seems like everybody's trying to embrace it more.
Yeah.
But you could do better.
No, exactly right. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've run a lot of, horse clinics and survival things up in indigenous communities. So I spent a lot of time when I was in the military up in the top end. So working with, so I had a whole team of indigenous soldiers and officers that we were working with. So, they're able to kind of understand and teach their traditional methods of of catching game and hunting, etc. To their community. So it was really good to kind of work with that and understand that process better. And it's just, if we can just invest more money into developing that, it'd be an amazing situation. And my brothers have got like Edward Monday, who's up in the Kimberley there. I was the only white fella playing in the Indigenous AFL team up there. There's me and three other boys that are a family.
Yeah.
And we're all in there. So just being so involved in it was the most incredible thing. And everyone's family. Yeah. It's like, it's such a beautiful thing to partake with. But the more that we can kind of make that prevalent, I feel for me, it's better. And we understand the culture of actually where we came from.
Especially when you move, like I move here and I notice it because I've come from somewhere that does. And I mean, I don't know the answers. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but it's such, and again, that comes down to how big Australia is as well.
Yeah, mate.
Like there's so many different. What are they? They call them mobs, don't they? Really? It's essentially, they call it a mob out there.
Yeah, well,
different
I think
communities.
Communities are all in there, and I mean they will refer to each other as they do from there. But it's awesome to just be heavily involved in them too. It's such a rewarding thing, and just. When you see the boys playing AFL up there, it's next level. Like these kids are just flying. Like it's
natural athletes, eh?
It's phenomenal. Yeah. The things they can do.
Man, it makes you feel inadequate when you go to those places. So you're like, oh man, I've got no chance here. Like,
100%. I had this fella called Jono, and he was a little midfielder. Yeah. He would be like 60 kilos wet, and he would just smash. Guys like 90 kilos and just fly. He'd see the ball and dart through everyone and kick it 50 metres where nobody else can. It's just incredible to see from there. So that was. So
where was your station up there? Your farm?
Up in the Kimberley. So just the northwestern Australia. Yeah. It was a great little spot.
That's where you grew up?
No, so I actually grew up in Sydney, and then I met my wife through her brother. So we were good mates. We joined the army together. Yep. And then from there, they had a cattle station, and then just went up. And then I was obviously travelling all over Australia. I had different jobs before I went into the army. I had a construction business too. Yep. And then from there, essentially we just went up, and it was just an amazing situation. But I was back and forth with the army like all the time. Yeah. So it was something. But my two kids were up there as well, so that was great. And then now down on the Gold Coast. And
so is Gold Coast a good place to have a business?
For me, I think it is, because I just look at overheads. That's the one thing. Whether it's rent for your house or it's owning the warehouse or the rent from the warehouse, like everything is better than compared to Sydney or. And that's including the whole lifestyle. So the kids going to school, it's 10 minutes from the warehouse. It's a great school, and then just having the property, which is amazing too. Yep. So for me, I think it's so much easier. It's $60 to fly down if I wanted to Sydney, or wherever. It's just neutrally.
And what, an hour?
Pardon?
An hour. Yeah.
Exactly right. So I really think it's just it's been a great spot for us too. Yeah. I can't see that. We've just moved into another warehouse now, so took over BLK's old one that was on the freeway.
Is that Helensville?
Yeah. So up there, which was good. And then yeah, we're just launching another business coming out soon. So it's we've got a business with Gordon Tallis and Cameron Munster as well. It's called Raging Bull Beef Jerky. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah, it'd be pretty,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty exciting that we can get that out.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that'll just go.
He's a tank, that bloke. Isn't he?
Yeah, he'll just go mental. He's a really just a great guy too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know, Gordy's in there. He brings his son into the warehouse and he just runs a market. And all my staff are inefficient because he's such a cute little kid. So,
Yeah.
but just a great. You know, he calls a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And he's really clear on it too. But
He can do that
He can do it
quite easily
but
too.
he can take it.
Yeah.
He's not the guy who's shying away from what he's saying. He's accountable for it, and it's not.
Yeah.
He's not a personal. Like he's not personal as he's saying things too. It's
Yeah.
just which is rare, I think, for those type of people. But I couldn't meet a nicer human being for me. He's been incredible.
Yeah.
And then said like with Cameron and Josh, like we're all launching little things there, which will be great. So
that's quite a like going back to like them, like life after football for people like him effectively as well. I guess he's out of football a wee bit now, but that must be that, especially the paycheck they get. Like they get paid really well, and especially if they start spending that, and that bleeds into life after.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, what's the story with lotto winners?
Yeah. It's a huge percentage, people.
Yeah, I think it's like 1% end up back where they were. So it's all right to say. For me, it's like I think when you classify people who might be a millionaire or might be something else from there, I think it's what do you do with that?
Yep.
If it goes down, then you probably couldn't consider that that's what they were. But if it's going up, then that makes a difference.
Yep.
If you're just slapping $400 on the pokies every day, before you know it, you're going to be doing a job that you may not necessarily be wanting to do. And that could take you away from your family. You know, you've got to go and do certain things. Like I spent a lot of time out of Blackwater in the mines when I was younger. I mean, and it's a big job. You know, getting up at 4 a.m. and going from 6 till 6, and then time you finish up, you just miss the kids growing up and everything else too. So for 3 years, that's what I was doing, and then it's a certain way of life, and I think some of the guys that when they do finish sport, they may enter that field as well, which is obviously still good because it's a great necessity that we need to do. But there's probably there's other things that I think they may choose to do if it wasn't for a desperate need, I guess.
Sometimes I think if you going from like sports high pressure, but it's also, it seems to be, I mean, I've never been a professional sportsman, it seems to be a great lifestyle too, with the fame and everything like that. And so when you go to from that industry where everybody's well known, like we were speaking about before, and then you go out to like say a mine town and you are earning good money, but nobody's there and nobody knows who you are.
No, that's right.
So it's almost cool to go from that lifestyle where you're working like the 3 years you were working those silly hours to now when you're in a business where you can sort of, I'm not sure what your lifestyle is, but you can have a better lifestyle. You're on the Gold Coast, you own your own business, so you're sort of only accountable really to yourself, and
that's right.
You can appreciate it more.
Exactly right. I mean, we've got a board of directors, and we're accountable to the whole team. Like everyone's together with it. But I mean, you're right. Like tonight we're taking a group of people up to the Broncos. So part of our deal was we get a box for it too, which is great.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's not too bad, I guess. But I mean, I love sport, so being able to do cool things like that. Then next week we go to Rockhampton, and then we've got to go to Cairns for just a fishing trip with another business. So there's like little things that like.
Jeez, I need to get my shit together with my plumbing business.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's don't get me wrong. Like that's not. It's hard work, and there's long hours. Like the days. You know, last night I think I was out in the office till 11 p.m. and back in there at 6 a.m. this morning.
Yep.
You know, we're doing things to get the job right, so it sets it up and it can function on its own.
Yep.
Which is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And let the staff be able to own it. Like nothing gives me more joy than thinking that the staff that we've got feel like they own the business.
Yep.
Because that's what you want. If someone feels like that, they're going to do 100%. More and give more. You know, for your staff, if they do it, then you're going to pay them more.
Yeah.
Like you're going to do the things because it makes your life easier to go and hunt and do more and get more things so the business is doing better.
Well, that's like I remember Richard Branson quote. The Virgin. Virgin. He said you got to hire staff so that effectively, basically train everybody so they can do your job. Yeah. But pay them so well and look after them so well that they never want to leave. Yeah. And if you feel like I've worked for companies before where I felt very much like just a number and just replaceable. Yeah. And I knew I wasn't. I knew I offered more than what they were using out of me. So now I try my best to make sure that I'm not perfect at it, but I try my best to make sure that people know they're valued.
Yeah.
And try and show them that they're valued.
No, exactly.
And I think it comes back like I think it works, but it's hard.
No,
it's hard to do.
It is. That's right. And I think another thing that we do have is like, if you don't have something nice to say about someone else, then there's no need to say it. So what we have for all our competition or other businesses, like they all do an amazing job, and competition is great for business in its own self. So I love the fact that other people are succeeding and doing it too.
Yeah.
It's great, and I love every day I'll get people asking that they want to start a business or how do they do it and different things from there. And obviously, like my ability to kind of help in those situations is limited now, but it's great to see people just having a shot.
Yeah.
It's better than just sitting down. I just love someone who's got an idea and wants to execute it. It's gives so much, and that's what I enjoy being around too. And I like that's, I guess, for yourself as you started your business and you do external things as well, like how good that is to kind of.
Well, a lot of it too is everybody's got an idea.
Yeah.
And that, everybody probably speaks to anybody, hey, you got a good business idea? I'd say most people would say that they do.
Yeah.
But then just such a small percentage execute that.
Yeah, that's right.
And even smaller percentage actually succeed in that execution.
Correct.
So I guess you can appreciate that if somebody's actually trying to execute, miles ahead of all those people who are still sitting at home saying they have an idea.
Yeah.
So you can recognise real when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You know how hard that was.
That's right.
To do.
And I mean, for me, like I wasn't very good at school, so I was good at socialising and sport, but I wasn't good at I wasn't just fundamentally. I wasn't good at maths or anything like that.
You didn't fit in the square hole from the round peg.
Still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I think what I could do is just understand that you've got to put 100% effort in. So when we started the brand, just working at designs and doing the research and all those things there. Like I didn't do a business plan. I actually didn't do any of that type of stuff. We had an idea, thought it would work, and just put 100% into that process, and then getting on the road and just getting on the tools and getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really what set us apart, because we just did a lot less thinking and just action. Yeah. And I just love seeing people get into action with it, because that's your planning anyway. That's how you're learning through the whole process too, as opposed to thinking in theory about something that might work. Like,
I think a lot of people too, they'll have a business. They'll start a business and they'll go, right, I need to make business cards, then I need to make this, and then I need to make that. So you haven't even started, but you've got all the infrastructure behind it.
You've already spent 40, 50 grand.
That's right.
So we didn't do any of that.
I got a good website, and it's like, fuck, you haven't even got a job yet. Yeah.
See, our website, we put $200 into it from Shopify, like just a basic one, and we ran that for 2 years. That's where I've seen people, countless people who spend $15,000, $20,000 on the most amazing website, all these things at the start, and then I'm like, you're fighting a ball now that you've got to push uphill, which is really too heavy. Yeah. Like you've got that much debt, and that debt weighs on you for it, and don't get me wrong, like the artificial money that I might have had in my bank, I can't consider that's part of the business. Everything I was doing in the business was what the business was. So just because I might have had a lot of money in my own bank, that doesn't allow me to go and fly first class to here and there, because the business isn't there for that person to do that. Yeah. So that's what we're really focused on, in that, the car was a secondhand car that we're using for it, just so that the business's balance sheet was really accurate and not fake news from you're doing so well, you guys are buying these things and doing all this, but I'm like, but what's going in and what's going out? Yeah. It's just because I'm feeding it, that if I start feeding it from something that's not real, like, I've got to pay that back. Yeah. And
because all the profits start to end up paying your debt.
Exactly.
Instead of reinvesting into things that make you
more money. Exactly right.
And it's like you were speaking about before. Those guys, I see quite a few guys of like tradies, they'll start their business, go out on their own, so they go and buy the flash astute, all the tools, all the flash, and I'm like, boys, you're like, we didn't, like, for example, I'll use example, like we've got like concrete saws, right? Yeah. Well, I hired them for 2 years before I even bought my own, so I probably paid off 4 or 5 of them. But that wasn't essential to that time.
Exactly.
To outlay that money for that. It's on such a small scale. Yeah. But that's like almost a metaphor for it. Like, you've got to almost. And now I'm looking at another purchase now, and I'm like, well, I'm earning it. Yeah. Or I'm making sure that it's something that's going to be, a benefit, rather than racking up that debt and ending up, back at square one. But then they go buy all these tools, and then they've got the stress of always making sure that they're being used.
Yeah.
And something like I like some of the stuff I own now. Just if it sits there, I'm fine.
No, exactly.
Well, it doesn't owe me anything.
No.
Just it'll be there ready to rock when I'm ready. So
I agree. Well, like, we used to specialize in making retaining earth walls for the bridges and mines. So, you know, and you have these little wooden wedges that you have to stabilize the wall on its lean. You know, at the end of the day, I'd send the workers to go all the way through and collect all the wedges that were dropped.
Yeah.
And, you know, that saves us, you know, a couple $100. And then you do something else. So the hammer that you see lying around, you could basically walk behind a construction site and pick up the tools that are needed that they've just thrown around and left. And then someone's got sacked and they leave their things around. You're like, mate, it's not that. And you can get the best secondhand tools ever. Yeah. Than going to Bunnings or wherever, you know, trade tool and just buying brand new stuff. So, like, it's just run a good business, simple. Be efficient, manage overheads, and be a good person. Yeah. Generally, like,
it all falls into line.
The universe will just say, okay, you've ticked those boxes there, and go through. Like, and that's what we, you know, again, we always just focus on that. So.
When you started to scale your business, from obviously you were saying that you saying you did it out of your mum's house.
Yeah, correct.
So when you started to have to hire staff and start to, because I can imagine, I mean, I've never been in the industry you're in, but I can imagine that there's a fine line between a product and, you know, what's the word, like call for product. What do you call that? Yeah. Like use for the product. Like you don't want to go buy, let's be real, like generic about it. You don't want to go and buy 1,000 shirts. And then the demand, that's what I was looking for, demand. So you're going to buy 1,000 shirts, but really you should have bought 2,000. But you don't really want to buy 2,000 because you're not sure if you'll sell the 1,000. And
that's exactly right.
What's that like that balance? Is there a hit and hope? Do you cross your fingers or do you...
I've done a lot of that. Yeah, we have indeed. But I think when it first happened, they give you an MOQ that you got to do.
What does that stand for?
Like minimum order quantity. Yep. So we might... And I just ordered that at the start and then they sell through. But I thought... and our team thought we had a good idea about the products that would sell well. So, you know, like a pair of jeans, they're not going out of fashion. Like a work shirt doesn't go out of fashion. So we knew stuff that's stable. Yeah. And then we tried different things too. Like we had these flamingo work shirts at the start that just went mental. And then finding products that are going to throw a spin in them to just create you know, I guess, stimulation for people to buy. And we've kind of, I don't know, at the moment we've been on the relatively right track for it too. Yeah. And getting contracts that we've got have really been able to give us a boost without calling in finances to help us out too.
Is access guaranteed?
Yeah, they order and they pay, and that gives our company the ability to then get more. Yeah. So it's we're really lucky with that space.
I don't say luck. I don't believe in luck.
No, I know. I say
preparation. You know, like
that's.
I try my best to avoid luck. I hate because I'm like, it's not lucky. You put yourself out there. You know. Yeah.
I mean, it's true, but then
fortunate.
I get that's right. We're fortunate that those things happen. I mean, sometimes
but you had to be in the position to do it. That's the thing.
You do, and I just said I'm going to do what it takes. So I'll be up for 20 hours to get that thing done.
There's nothing lucky about that.
No, that is true. You know, and our team would just be there. Like, you know, my cousin who's still in the warehouse manager now. He's just 100%. Like he owns the business. Yeah. Like and so if you can trust your staff. Yeah. 100%. You can sleep at night. You can, and then you can focus on the fundamental things. But if you've got to go down there and chase up old mate for not rocking up to work and then get back on the tools, your business is going to suffer because you can't do your job of executing the whole thing. So having the key guys that own the company is just second to none. Yeah.
So I mean, that's just because you can sleep at night knowing that they're at a certain time opening up. You don't have to be there. You don't have to be worrying about that.
No, I mean, we're still there and doing the things, but it's like the roles are being taken care of, you know. Like our CEO and one of the owners as well, James, like he is just so good at managing staff. Yep. And solving problems. Yep. And if staff feel like they've got a clean back of house, they're just going to do better as well.
Is that better for you two to be out of that sort of the nuts and bolts of it a little bit? From a CEO, like they can make the decisions like this.
Well, he's a CEO. I'm actually the operations manager. So
you're probably in there.
So my strengths are, you know, the design. Like I focus on that stuff and then building the relationships and getting like where the business is. And the CEO is obviously just running the company as it goes through. And that's like, and he's my boss, which is great because I need that. And you tell me, you see it in sports guys as well. Like if you think you don't have a boss,
Just pull that close to you.
sorry. If you think you don't have a boss, you can almost get drunk and not accountable, and then you may make bad decisions when you go out to the nightclub. You may make things that you think that probably if you had someone directing you a bit better, you may not actually make, and 24 hours after that you'll be like, I was lucky. Yeah. Or I wish I had someone help me out.
So you identify that it's probably better that you had someone...
Everyone needs it.
A bit of direction.
Yeah. I think everybody needs it. Like, your boss is your customer. Yeah. You know, you're going to do better.
My wife.
Yeah, your wife. Well, Stan.
Yeah.
She's the owner.
Yeah, she's owner-operator. Yeah.
But, you know, if you go down and do a job, you walk in there and your customer service is second to none, and you provide the best service for your particular role, then... They're going to refer you They're going to give you more stuff. So like, our consumer is our boss. Yeah. We're not telling them what they want. They're going to tell us what they want, and then we'll aim in our best to give that to them. Yep. And if we maintain that, then I feel we're going to maintain sales without having to sell. Yeah. We're just going to maintain that. That's going to go and do the thing that needs to be done.
I've got a friend who's and he's got quite a big company as well, and they've just employed a general manager. Yep. And they're so happy. Yeah. Because it's like, they could, and by their own admission, they were probably at a point where they could, as far as they could take it, not being like, they're good business people, but not that this was their first sort of business. Yeah. And it's grown really, really well. It's absolutely pumping. But the minute they put something in and had that actual expense, and then realize what they can offer, and you know what avenues you can change, and go, oh, holy shit, I'm not really.
No, that's right. I mean, you see, just because you're a good football player, does that make you a good coach? Yeah, like it doesn't necessarily. Yeah. And
generally, like especially like I'm just talking about trade because it's my industry, and you've obviously been involved in that too. You can be as good a tradesman as you want. There's a total difference between being a business owner.
Correct. And running a team and getting the most out of it.
Exactly. And most guys are good in one sense, but the transfer is the real hard part, because it almost becomes not about what that is. Yeah. It almost it gets even. It almost like outdoes it. Like once you become good at that business, then you can interchange what comes below you to an extent.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, but it's a weird feeling.
No, it is, exactly. Yeah. But that's why you're identifying, like when you interview your staff, you're identifying who's going to be able to take on more. Yep. You know, and you're going to try and mold that, because it's going to be better. So you can just leave, so and so to go and do that job, and carry it out the way that it's as though you're carrying it out. Yep. And if you can do that, it's
worth its weight in gold. Yeah, because when you don't have that, oh man.
Yeah, see, exactly.
It's tough.
No, that's right.
So when you were like employing staff initially, your family obviously. Yep, you were able to use your family, utilize them and their skills.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So my mum, her first job was posting orders. Yeah, it was great, and she's like absolutely loving it, writing handwritten notes to everybody else. Yeah. And then my cousin, she had her daughter's school friend's mum was a designer. So Susie, she's still with us today. She's amazing. So she's worked for some incredible brands, and then she came through and she was doing everything, all the design and executing it through, and trying to filter out my brain to get out what we needed. She was incredible. Then she had a friend, and then she brought her, who was another designer. So came in, and then they had someone else. So literally, she's just built a little team based off all people that she's worked with, and
just then, networking.
And then now, we've got so many staff who have worked at amazing brands like Billabong, Surf Stitch, Culture Kings, Spell. So we've been lucky to get a diverse range of staff now in all aspects. Now we've grown to the size. We have a HR manager. We have just accounts. Then different like marketing teams.
When you I often wonder about so your brand like Ringers Western. Yeah. But we probably didn't even mention what it was. Ringers Western. Yeah. I'm sure this year had. But where's that come from? Where'd that name come from?
Well, we were ringers in Western Australia, so it was like the easiest thing in the whole thing to do. Yeah. And then we were working with bulls and cattle. Yeah. So it's basically like Ringers Western. That was literally happened in 2 seconds, that name. Yeah. So I was lucky with that.
So with that as well, like I know she said, like owners, designers from Billabong. Yeah. All these different companies. Do you find a little bit pigeonholed?
No, I don't think so, because it's got to come out of my head and other members' heads as well, and our brand manager, she understands it well. Like she watches Yellowstone, she watches all the brands, and she's a forward thinker as well. So Angie, her name is, she's just incredible at kind of forward picture planning what's going to happen, and you get a mood board and you can kind of see stuff that are there. And I focus a lot on companies from the early 90s that had made beautiful products over in America specifically. And you just get different images, and then our guys will kind of mold and create stuff relative to the Australian market that we feel anyway. I mean, we're not going to get it right, but all the time, but we just try our best, and to date it seems to be still
working. Something's going right.
Yeah,
right. Especially like with that whole I guess I don't know what you'd call it. Would you call it country? Yeah. I'm not sure. Like that, it's sort of it's what it's based around.
Well, it's like R.M. Williams, and also with we bring the city and the country together. Yeah. So surfers will wear skinny jeans and black boots, or a black t-shirt or a hat from there. The country guys will wear work shirts, jeans, and square toe boots. Yeah. So we've got eskies that from 5 litres to 120 litres. Yep. So you go on the fishing boat, we've got fishing shirts. Yep. We've got dress shirts for the accountants in the city with chinos and blazers. And
so with your, like, obviously, I don't want to go talking about other brands, but with the R.M. Williams, which is like, let's call that like the industry standard. Yeah. Well, maybe you couldn't probably call it that, because it sounds like you're diversifying a lot more than what that is, because they're pretty much straight down the line, aren't they, with what they offer?
Yeah, I mean, they're an incredible, iconic brand.
Iconic is the right word for it. Yeah,
and they're Australian owned again now. But their products are quite expensive, which and they do make Australian made products too. So we do also make Australian made products. Mm-hmm. Kind of what we found though is to make an Australian made product, its retail is just so high. So it's almost like a catch-22. Do you want to be able to give the farmer so they can just afford a shirt that's suitable for them to do their job, so they can actually provide for the rest of the country? Yeah. Or are you going to charge them an arm and a leg for a product that's made in Australia? So it's it's a bit of a balance.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I never thought about it like that. Like, you're almost robbing Peter to pay Paul, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I've noticed that the people that complain about Australian made products don't necessarily buy them because they're too expensive. So you're not going to please everyone. All we can do is try and do our best, and with that philosophy to look after the broader market as we can, then I think we'll hit the nail on the head with it too. So yeah, I think that's certainly been a bit of a play, but we just learn the way through. Things will come up and they say, oh, why don't you try this, and then make your work shirts SPF 50, so do that, and then do something else for it, make some Australian made ones. So we've done that. And then once you kind of gauge all that stuff, then it falls through.
If you're going to be real staunch Australia made, it's almost like someone who, if you're a vegan, and I don't want to go down this road. Someone will get offended. I don't care.
We've got plenty of cows that can.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're going to be a vegan, or actually like actively try and save the world, you can't drive anywhere. Yeah, you can't take a bus anywhere. Yeah, you can't if you want to dive deep into that sort of way of life. Yeah, you almost every avenue you go down, at some point you're going to be doing something damaging somewhere else. Yeah, so it's like mitigating all the damages.
That's right.
And so the reason I say that is because if you're going to be staunch Australia made, you'd have to go through the supermarket. No, what are you buying out of the supermarket?
No, exactly right.
At what point do you can try your best to support the industry, but like you're saying, you're arguing, well, we're supporting tons of charities in Australia by what we're able to do by that. So what's better? Do you want us to support?
Yeah,
support
exactly right. You're not going to please everyone, and for us, we're going to make the decision we feel is going to support the broadest possible market. Yeah. So if farmers, there is always going to be drought. There's always going to be floods. Yep. So, I want to be able to have the money to actually help them out. Yeah. And we can do that now. We can do that. Like, our company has grown to a significant size. We've done all right. Yeah. So if we can keep managing that, then we're going to be able to really help as much as we can.
It's like those charities too. Like, I don't know if you know Chrissy Walker, he comes in here a bit.
So Chris is next to my office.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. No, I've spent a fair bit of time with Chris.
With the Fund My Challenge thing, he's doing now, obviously, for the walk. So, and he was saying a lot of the charities as well. Like, he dove deep into quite like the legitimacy of some of the charities. Yeah. And so that's why I like sort of what they're doing. They're trying to make it a broad spectrum of it. And so from your point of view as well, when it comes to like who you're supporting, You want to be able to support whoever you want to be able to support. Like that Ronald McDonald House, unreal.
We know it's a bona fide organisation that looks
right.
after everyone. It's
That's
great.
right.
Drought Angels, the same thing.
Yeah.
The guys with the mental health, like I've been out with them. I've done the jobs where
and that's the hardest part, isn't it? It's trying to find, like I did say the same thing. Said the same thing to him. If I came into a sum of money and they said you got to donate it to someone, I would stress about that, because I'd be wanting to partner with the right people.
Yeah. And
then you almost need to, like what you're saying, you almost need to actually go out on the coalface and spend time with them and go, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than going, I'm just going to give it to them.
No, and you can't, like, what about that farmer who has got a massive dam on his property, and the other farmer who doesn't, and all his cows are dying? Well, I've got to balance out what's fair to do that. You know what I mean? Again,
and he might have worked 10 times harder to get a property with a dam on it.
Correct. So he doesn't need that thing. So it's kind of you don't really want to necessarily give that to someone who doesn't need it. Cause, he wants to give it to the people that are going to that need it.
But then, you go deeper and you're like, well,
exactly.
Why is he in this position? Yeah, it gets squirrely, doesn't it?
It does, and I try and
you almost create more problems for yourself trying to do that.
Try and just extricate yourself out of that, and do what you can. Like if I see the fires, we saw the houses that got burnt down.
Yep.
You know, and we got heaps of people asking for help with it, so we just send stuff out. Did I do an audit on it? No.
Yeah.
I mean, do I know where it all went? Of course not. But those who came through and said they lost their properties, they lost their house, we just sent them out of stuff without a question.
Yep.
So that's it. We just trust the face value of the situation.
You almost would just lose the plot trying to figure it out. And can you send me photos of you wearing it and make sure
Mate, not a chance from there at all.
Yeah,
but it's good. You have to come up and have a look at the warehouse, and I'll get you out for.
Love to. Yeah. It's I really like that. Like I actually start wearing a little bit more of that stuff to work in that, because it's like a lot of the a lot of like the workwear we wear. Yeah. It is hardy, but it's also not. It's not very formal. Yeah, and I'm a little bit more. Like I'm trying. Well, I'm not trying to, but my call now is more like being less on the tools. Yeah, a lot more interacting with people, and then especially doing stuff like this. But I'm interacting with people, so you want to be a little bit more presentable. Yeah, you know what I mean. And sometimes that doesn't allow for that. Yeah, it's a weird. No, it's a weird catch-22. But
I agree. But we've got
to get a Dodge Ram first.
Do you?
I'll tell you, I'm so influenced. As soon as I finished watching it, I said to my wife, I was like, look up Dodge Rams on the internet. I'm going to buy one.
Yeah, I had a Tundra for a while. Yeah. Which is like a big Ram.
Toyota Tundra, isn't it? Yeah.
So I got that out from the States and got it converted over as well with the left-wheel drive or whatever. And this thing was just a beast. Yeah. Unleaded, it just flew. It was so fast.
Australia's not built for them though, eh?
Like I can't park. I had to park away from the city and get an Uber in because I couldn't park the car. Like it doesn't fit under. It's got with the antennas and all the shit that comes with it. I was like, never again. And
I said to her, I said to my wife, when I'm wealthy enough to not have to worry, I said I'm buying a 350 and I'm just going to park in 2 parks.
Exactly.
Because you get to the point where you just don't care. No. You're like, done. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's right. But I mean, I think. Again, just managing our overheads. And that'll allow us to go and get the cars that we want. And
it's a process too, isn't it? Like you got to work towards those things.
Pay your dues. Like I only got that was the first new car I've ever had. Yeah. Everything else is always secondhand, and I was looking at different things, and I've had Hiluxes, had all other things, and I was like, I've liked that. I've always wanted to get one. So
and you got to reward yourself too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those 20-hour days have got to have some. Yeah. And I'm the same a little bit with work. I'm like, I want to have a nice vehicle. Yeah. Because I do so many Ks, or like I'm always, and you got what you want to be. You want to show professionalism too, and that sort of shows it too. You want to draw that fine line between being professional, but also not showing off.
No, exactly right.
Especially in Australia, because people will look at you, show up in the nice vehicle, and people go, this guy must be charging too much. Like, no, like
you're just efficient with your overheads.
With your overheads. Well, if I showed up in a piece of shit, you'd be like, well, this guy's not very. Which one is it? Like, which one do you want from me?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So I agree. Couldn't agree more. So
So with the way like the business is heading. Because obviously yours has been. When was it actually like legitimately your job? Was this?
So it was the pre-planning November 2016, 15.
So we're talking 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
Holy shit!
So launched in May 2016. So that's next month. Basically.
So that's 5 years next month. Yeah, that's a pretty massive especially like you're saying, you've already had like contracts with companies for 2 years already.
Yeah.
So 3 years in, you're satisfying criteria to be.
Oh, before that even, like we were setting it up, and I remember going down, like my ex, so she went down for this meeting with Nutrien and or Landmark at the time, and she's like, if you let us have a shot, we'll get the contract. And this chap's like, I don't even know who you guys are, let alone being able to say you got that. You know, who's this? You're going up against companies that are amazing, like R.M. Williams and RV Sellers, and you know, you say if you give us a shot, we're going to do it. So, you know,
because that's a risk too. Because if you don't fulfill it,
100%. Like,
they just look stupid.
Still don't know. Like I went into the office there, the board of directors, you know, who were all amazing business people and done incredible things, with this PowerPoint slide that, you know, I just had a mate do up for me because I couldn't understand it properly. Plugged it in, didn't work. I was like, sweet beauty. And then one of the directors has gone, you're off to a good start, you mate. And I was like, clearly. So then, you know, basically I was like
sweating, going, oh my god,
no, well, we just said, like I said, you know, no one in this room knows us, and then you just had two incredible companies leave. How do you know that we can do the job better than these guys? Well, you don't. The only way you're going to do it is by giving us an opportunity. And how do we get an opportunity? Well, we can do some sampling. So the CEO, still current CEO there, Rob Clayton, he gave us a shot. And then, I mean, I don't know about the other companies there, but what he said that we did is we gave them what they wanted, not what we thought they wanted. So we're really clear on finding out exactly what they were after and making it out. And we've kind of gone for the philosophy of, like, you know, so old mate who's a stock agent there, you know, he's worked all day with his shirt, and then he's gonna go out to the pub, get on the piss, throw it in the washing machine, get it out, throw it in the dryer, turn the dryer on to 120, and wake up in the morning. So we want to make a shirt that he can pull out of that dryer and put on. Doesn't look like it's been ironed, and he's now $1 million. And that's what we went for with it. And you know, we just did what they asked, and then the CEO said, all right, well, yeah, you guys have done that, and here's a contract. So pretty lucky, but you know, we give them 24/7 service. Like our customer service doesn't stop for them at any point in time, or for anyone for that matter. You can call up to check on your order, and you'll speak to a human being who will be able to go through what you need and solve your problem.
How hard is that to keep that? When you're talking about overheads, you can see the temptation of outsourcing. Like we know bigger companies in Australia that outsource all their.
Correct.
How frustrating that is when you call and don't necessarily speak to someone who is effectively in the workshop. Like, how hard is that to keep, or is that just a no? Is that just a non-negotiable?
No, it's not. We always maintain that. So it's easy because that's what we're doing to do. We're not changing that.
I guess because also when you went into that presentation, you go in there as a company that's ready to satisfy the criteria or ready to do what it takes to make that work. Whereas I guess other companies potentially might go in there and say, well, we're reputable. If you want us, this is what I'll offer you.
That's right.
You know, like it's almost like there's someone who's it's almost like someone showing up for a job interview and someone's like, well, you know, I can work for you. You know, I can do this. And then another guy's showing up going, man, I'm so keen. I just want to. You want to almost go with that keen person because you know that they're going to do everything it takes to.
That's what you want. You want someone who's got that energy to just do it. You know, I don't want someone to get too far ahead of themselves so they make mistakes along the way, which everyone does. But you need someone who's got the balance to make and do the right thing, so you feel that they've got the gravity that they're not going to get washed away with whatever else is going on in their head. So that's, you know, it's a fine line. And as we deal with people, like, which is our most important product, is our people. You know, we'll always say, like, we give, you know, when a customer says, I got this out of the bag and it had a rip in it, well, the first thing we got to do is believe them and make them feel that they're being listened to, and then we work it out. If you're like, no, you didn't, I got it on video that you didn't do that.
Well, there's no way.
It's a dick attitude. Like, do it and treat people right, and then you'll be able to work it out. You know, if you question someone in an aggressive way, then they're going to arc up, or they're going to get defensive. Whereas if you try and work at the problem in a nice way, then you're probably going to get the most out of the person you're trying to deal with at the time. So, I mean...
And then they ring up again and say, another shirt ripped. You go, come on.
No, that's right.
Cut the shit,
But we still got to do it so they feel like they're being listened to at any point in time. And that's where we go.
Because I mean, I guess it is a purchase for someone, and they've got to... it's personable. That's a huge thing. Because how much... I look at like what you're saying about being that keen person, trying to get that contract. Is it hard not to fall into the category of the other people?
I don't think so.
Especially when you got form. Like if you've got form where you're
Yeah.
cutting out, let's say 10 different high profile customers.
Yeah.
It's hard to just go, well, here's what we offer these guys. We can form this because you know what I mean. Like you can almost get a bit too ahead of yourself.
That's right. But I mean, for that we get a specified person to go and take on that job to do it as well. So we've got Kari, our corporate account manager. She manages that, looks after it, and that's her bread and butter. Yeah. So that and they feel like that's theirs. And then the next one, we get someone else to do that as well.
And you got accountability back to that account.
Correct.
So that's that person who's the point of call.
Exactly right. And then they feel like they have someone that's part of their team. So really, like Kari, even though she's our employee, effectively she is an arm of that company who just happens to work with us. Yeah, right. Okay. And they feel amazing that they've got that capability in there. So,
So what does your day look like? Like, are you a little bit like...
No, I've got 2 kids.
Are you all over the show?
I don't know about that, but probably. Yeah. So I've got 2 kids as well. So, between 50-50 of having them. Yeah. My mum lives with me, which is lucky, even though she's away now for the next month, which has been a little bit interesting. Yeah. So, do the kid drop off in the morning. If I don't have them, then I'll be at work at 6:30. And then obviously, like everybody else, you got your emails, then check on all the staff. Yeah. And then go through whatever meetings or what needs to happen throughout the day. And then after that, I'll start, whether I can look at different sponsorships or corporate accounts or do research into new things that are going down. We go through there, and I think most days I'll try and get out of the office around 3 o'clock to go and spend some time with the kids. And then I'll go back on the computer around 7:38 for another couple of hours. Yeah. And my son's a Muay Thai fighter down at Burleigh. So he's only 12, but he's had about 3 fights so far. Yeah, he's
a little tank.
Yeah, he does really. He's such a diligent trainer too. He's doing 2.5 hours a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, Friday.
Which gym is he at?
He's at Fighters Haven. Yep. He loves it. So it's a pretty good experience there. Yeah. And then my daughter started doing it too, so it's just easy. Yeah, which is a bit tough because she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel, but she's in there learning the ropes, I guess. So
you want to be able to handle herself.
Yeah, tell me about it, mate.
But I know. Not like my daughter. I try to get my daughters to do things, and they're like, no. Unless it involves my hair and nails and going shopping, I'm not interested.
Is that right?
Oh, mate, it's brutal.
So yeah. And then like tonight, we've got to go take some people out to the Broncos game. Yep. Whether it's my sport on the weekends anyway. Yep. And then I'm away, obviously, whether it's a campaign photo shoot or meetings all over the country. Yeah. It's basically how we roll.
That's especially like being in the coalface too, like being the owner. It's pretty cool to be able to go and do those corporate things as well. Yeah. Like and meet the people who are actually experiencing I'm assuming it's like a fulfillment thing as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you get there and they love what you're doing, love your brand. You go, oh shit, I started this.
I mean, but it's always a we. Like not one person made the company at all. It's completely a team that would know and know what it is.
No doubt.
It's like anything with it too. Yeah. So always, our staff, we always make sure everyone talks, in saying we. Yep. We just don't want to ever say, I did that or I did this thing, because you didn't. Without everybody else, you didn't do anything. Like I didn't do anything. Might have had an idea, but by no means could I've.
You put the right people in place to execute it as well.
Not at all. We've got amazing staff that have made the company, and we're very lucky with that space.
So we're sitting down here in 10 years' time, provided I'm doing this in 10 years' time.
That's right.
I'll be a lot greyer. But where will Ringers Western be then? Will it be worldwide?
Well, right now it is worldwide. I mean, so the company's valued at over $50 million. We're lucky just because of how the sales and everything's gone. Yeah. I think the expansion for more deliverables, whether it's in corporate accounts and just the growth of the company globally. Yeah. Having foundational offices in the UK, Europe, USA, and building that out. Yeah.
That's all. That's in the works. That's what's
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
does that make you nervous?
Nah. I don't really care. At the end of the day,
makes me nervous.
I think at the end of the day, like for what we believe as well, is if it goes to shit tomorrow, it goes to shit tomorrow. Yeah, I don't really care. I'll just have a lot of clothes to wear for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I was going to say you're a stockpile. Yeah, you better sell them on the black market.
It's not. I don't worry about the things that could or may happen from there. We just keep doing the right thing, and it'll work. It'll do itself. And
I guess in a positive too, you don't have to do that as well.
No,
like if you decide that this is the size you want to stay,
yeah,
then this is the size you want to stay. Like
Correct.
just be like,
we won't. We're going to keep going
Yeah.
bigger, but we're not worried if it collapses.
Yeah.
It's not something that happens. Just it's good. Great, we'll do something else.
yeah,
When I say that, those things don't happen if you're not doing the thing around the
Yeah.
process there.
Yeah.
But there's like COVID, you've got other things that can really affect the business in any which way.
yeah.
But let's just worry about what's in front of us, and then and behind us will remain clean if we can do that.
When COVID hit, did you sort of? You probably like anybody went, holy shit, let's
did.
have some meetings.
Oh, we did right at the start, and we're like, fuck, what do you do now? Like, is there what's everyone react to? And then James, the CEO, he's like, let's just go harder. It will go through it. Let's not back down at all.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did, and then everything just tripled in sales.
I just noticed a lot of the people that had that attitude,
yeah,
flourished.
yeah,
Because they sort of like went right, and the people maybe that I'm not too sure about, like everybody obviously, but it seems like some of the people who just went to panic stations,
yeah,
and started like selling off this and getting rid of that and bringing everything down, which is probably a smart business move, is to bring down your overheads and everything.
yeah,
But if you went, fuck it, I'm just going to stare into this,
yeah,
because nobody really knew how it was going to be. Like I had a house for sale at the very start. I had 2 open homes and then COVID hit.
yeah,
Couldn't go out. And I panicked as well. We ended up selling it because we didn't know whether it was going to be.
correct.
Like, was this going to be worth half in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
Or was it going to be worth double? Now, as the frigging market's happened, it's probably I probably left 300 grand on the table. But
Yeah, that's right.
But like you didn't know. So all
You
those
didn't.
people that went, you know what, we're just going to keep on keeping on. Like
Yeah.
from my industry point of view, we doubled as well.
Yeah. See, how good's that?
It was great.
Yeah.
But I said same thing to my wife. I said, fuck it, I'm going out and buying a new, I bought some equipment that was going to be needed all the time.
Yeah.
Bought all our contracting stuff in-house.
Yeah.
So we did it ourselves instead of contracting out to people.
That's good.
So effectively kept ourselves employed.
Yeah.
Said to the boys, I don't know how this is going to go, but we're just going to take this one day at a time, and then, we're
That's
here.
all you can do.
We're here now.
Yeah.
And so I feel like everybody that sort of went down that avenue flourished.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I mean, and like if you own a coffee shop or a hotel and different things,
Yeah.
like you were forced into a tough situation.
100%, yeah. And that's...
But people have...
You couldn't just go double down and buy another hotel.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
But people looked at it and went, they were able to use their mind to think of new ideas to create the business in it. So whether they said, okay, well, this is the opportunity for us to now close shop and give it a refurbishment, or run food that's takeaway, or I don't know, whatever they had, but there was people they got into action.
Yeah,
it's like they became less stagnant and they got into the fighting game again.
We almost, like, sometimes I find, again, talking about my industry again, but you might be in a similar situation. I feel like I can't, if I have a certain amount of people working, and a certain amount of work coming in, that's a real comfort zone.
Yeah. Yep.
I can cruise on that, but that doesn't help me. No. And so I almost need to have a little bit more, like maybe one more person employed than I really need. Yeah. And have to create the work for that person. Yeah. And that means that I can't, because naturally I revert to my comfort zone. Yeah. And I'm probably like everybody. You want to be in your comfort zone. Yeah. But if I put myself out of it, the business actually does far better. Yeah. So you almost take on a little bit more than you can, and then go, fuck, I just got to make this work. Yeah. It has to work.
I think it's better to take on more than you can. Yeah. Because it pushes you more.
And because then when you start doing it, you're like, oh, see?
Exactly.
I could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think that's exactly right. So, yeah, that's
probably where you guys have gone as far as you have in 5 years' time.
Yeah, we have, and I mean, it's now it's like, you look at this warehouse, and we've still got the other warehouse, and then that one's not the one we've just moved into is going to be too small too. Yeah, so you're like, fuck. Yeah, but they're all good problems to have. Yeah, yeah, and we just got to work through them.
Could be a lot better.
Yeah.
So what happens? So you sponsor the Broncos.
Yep.
Do you sponsor any other NRL teams?
No, so we do the Lightning, Sunshine Coast Lightning netball. We've done Queensland cricket. We look after players at the Cowboys, the Roosters, a lot of Storm players, a lot of Titans boys too.
So what happens when they play? See, if you sponsor two teams, you can almost only sponsor one, can't you? Because when they play, you go, fuck, what do I do here?
Yeah, no, that's right. I think tonight, obviously I'm going up to the Broncos game. Yeah. but I'll drive Kevy Proctor home after the game, so it's a bit of a conflict from there.
You try. That's gonna have that awkward conversation where you're like, oh dear.
Yeah, he's like, mate, I don't want to go back in the bus, so he'll jump in with us, so we can just get out of there. So things like that are good.
I went to the Titans game the other day. I was in one of those corporate boxes.
Yeah.
And we had to. It was perfect. We had like the parking.
Yeah.
No, it was last time. It was when Broncos played Titans.
Yep.
Which wasn't great for the Broncos either. But
no, that's right.
We don't have to get into that. We'll see what happens tonight. But and we had to we parked, and it was sweet. We walked straight in, and then when we left, we had to wait 50 minutes in the car park for them to clear everybody out so we could drive out of our car park. I remember thinking, fuck, this is corporate.
Dude, my head.
Yeah, it did, because you're ready to leave.
Yeah.
And we sort of like power walked out of there thinking, I'll hop in the car and we're gone.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I only live around the corner from the stadium. So I was like, I'll be home.
Yeah.
I'll be home, like, I'll watch the interviews after the game at home. But then when I got home, I thought I should have stayed in the corporate box and had more beers up there. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
Well, I've got an hour drive back tonight from the game after, so we'll see how that goes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I won't take up any more of your time.
No, appreciate it.
Really appreciate you coming in, man. It's always a cool insight into these business, especially like the scale that it's gone at, and sort of seeing the down to earth person you are.
No, mate, appreciate
that started it, which is always cool. So
no, sick.
Appreciate you coming in, and speak to you soon.
Any day. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.